child protection is a responsibility of everyone.
Follow God's word, and then we shall restore people's lives, we shall restore the life of the father and the mother, then we shall have restored peace at home.
We see a lot of harm being done to children today. And because Satan knows that when children are left alone, they are vulnerable. That's why he uses the tactic of destroying the family unit.
This command is not just given to church leaders. It is to every Christian.
Because he commanded us to love the vulnerable and to suffer with them. They are suffering, suffer with them. They are crying, cry with them.
This work is given to us because we are God's hands and feet. It's time for the church also to come up. Twabasuubiza nti tugenda kubeera n'omugenyi okuva mu gavumenti. Leero tuna omugenyi olunaku olwaleero wano alina bingi byatuleetedde. Katusooke tweyanjule nga bulijjo.
Ndi musanyufu nnyo olunaku olwaleero nga bwe tugenze nga tubasuubiza nti tujja kubeera n'omukozi wa gavumenti okujja okwogera ku nsonga y'abaana. Olunaku olwaleero eri abawuliriza baffe n'abatulaba tulina omugenyi we tuli wano era mu kiseera ekituufu agenda tubuulira gavumenti ku nsonga ey'okukuuma abaana. Era tuli basanyufu nnyo nga bwe mutulaba tutaddeko obumwenyobwenyo kubanga ne gavumenti tutudde nayo. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala, tega amatugo.
Leero tugenda kutunuulira ku bifo mu gavumenti, tutunuulire ne bakola ki abantu abo abateekebwa mu bifo bya gavumenti ku ludda olw'abaana. Tulina ebingi bye tubaleetedde. Tuna omukulembeze waffe aze nga twababuulirako ku ssomero lyaffe eryokusatu, tugenda muleeta leero akedde kubeera naffe wano. Nsaba mwanirize nga sinaba muleeta tugenda akyusako ku lulimi, tugenda akozesa ku lulimi Olungereza. Nyabo tusanyusa okulaba.
Thank you so much. I am happy to be here to share a message with our viewers out there and those that will be able to listen to us on the message on child protection. My name is Immaculate Nabifo. I am a government worker. I serve Mbale District Local Government as a probation officer. I am happy to be here today.
Yes, Madam Immaculate, you're just most welcome to give us what the government says about child protection. And I will straight go and ask you a question that what is a government?
Thank you so much. When we are talking about government, just in simple terms, government is me and you. And it's just anybody or persons that constitute a governing authority of a political unit or an organization. We can give an example. Government has officials, it has people, it has power, and it has resources. So when we bring all those together, we form what we call a government.
Thank you. Madam Immaculate,
yes,
what is child protection?
Thank you. Child protection is the main reason as why we are here. And we are saying that child protection are those various interventions that are aimed at preventing and responding to violence, exploitation, and abuse against children, with the aim of ensuring the children's well-being and happiness. What does it consist? It consists of reducing risks to children's holistic well-being. It also consists of making children's rights a reality, restoring hope and a dignified living where abuse has occurred, and creating an enabling environment that supports children's positive development. So when we look at all those other key components, they constitute what we call child protection.
Thank you very much, Madam Immaculate, for explaining that to us. Many times we get confused about rights and responsibilities. So is it okay you go ahead and differentiate for us the rights and responsibilities, and maybe you give some of the examples of each?
Thank you so much, Madam. We are looking at, from our constitutional level, that a right is any form of entitlement that every human being is entitled to. regardless of sex, regardless of religion, regardless of age, regardless of any other difference, something that you are entitled to as a human being. And as children, they also have their own rights, and we wish to share some of the examples of the children's rights as enshrined in our Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, as amended, and in our children's Bible that we call the Bible, our Children's Act. As for our children in Uganda, all our children have a right to access education and guidance. They have a right to food, accessing food. They have a right to medical care. They have a right to get clothing. They have a right to shelter, because no child can live in the street situations. And we are saying that also our children have a right to own property. The children have a right to a name and belonging. I am specifying a name and belonging. In our own setting, sometimes we have children that we call boy, we have girl, we have mommy, we have this and that. But our constitution is very clear. Our children have a right to a name. Why a name? It's because our children, a name signifies, it shows some sense of belonging. Where in the beginning I mentioned my name as Nabifo. And immediately someone mentions Nabifo, automatically someone will begin attaching me to some clan somewhere where I should be belonging to. Now, most often, we have seen our children, or even parents out there, fearing sometimes to make the children's rights a reality in confusion that are their responsibilities. As government, according to our Constitution of 1995, Article 34, it specifies the roles and responsibilities for children and also as parents. Now, what responsibility do they have? As children, we expect them to participate in domestic work. That is their responsibility. Because we expect that as the child, as we are talking about holistic growth for a child, the child also needs to participate in activities that will develop them emotionally, psychologically, and also physically. The children also have a right, a responsibility to study. If the parent has been able to take this child to school, it is their responsibility to ensure that while they are in school, they are working very hard. The children also have a responsibility to respect the parents and elders in the community and always assist them in times of need. The children have a responsibility to serve their community by placing their physical and intellectual abilities to service. If we have educated you, taken you to school as a child, you also have a duty to come back and serve our communities, and we benefit that from you. It could be technically providing guidance to the communities or putting that field that you have learned that can transform our communities into something else. They also have a duty, a responsibility to participate in community activities. Save for these days, previously our children would participate in issues that we call that Bulungi. We would have community days. Previously, we used to have a Thursday in every week when community members, the children, the families would participate in communal work. It could be cleaning around the wells. It could be cleaning our roads. Something that the children would instill what we are calling community service. They also have to contribute to the best of their ability at all times and levels in order to promote unity. It is the duty of the child to also ensure that they keep themselves safe. They report any form of abuse for the betterment of their own lives. So when we look at the rights and responsibilities, we want the children to know that as we enforce and ensure that their realities, their rights are a reality, they also have a duty and responsibility to fulfill. These are some of the examples.
Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Immaculate.
Yes, please.
We have issues outside in our communities. And many people have failed to report cases because they don't know where to go. Could you please share with us some of the positions in government that are put in place in the area of child protection?
Thank you so much. In our own communities, maybe if we can just list some of them, we have different levels of positions of responsibility. I can say as government, it has put in place all our local councils, right from a local council 1 to local council 5. Up, we have someone that we call a vice chairperson that is charged with the responsibility of looking after children and as an advocate for the children. We have at local government level, we have various offices that are charged with the duty of looking after children and responding to issues of abuse and providing an enabling environment for the child to grow. And among local government structures, we have at different levels, positions. We have from the parish level, we have someone that we call a parish chief, whose duty as an administrator has to ensure that the citizens of tomorrow, these young ones that need protection, are protected. We have someone that we call a community development officer at the sub-county level. This person has, among the core roles, has the duty to ensure that you provide social protection to all the vulnerable groups. We also have still at the local government level, we have what we call a probation officer at the district level. That one also has the duty to ensure that all children are protected from any form of harm and abuse. We also have what we call like ministries. Ministries, for example, we have Ministry of Internal Affairs. Ministry of Internal Affairs, we have someone that we call a Child and Family Protection Unit. It's these days called a directorate that is charged with the duty of ensuring that abused children are protected from any form of child rights violations. We also have an office or an institution within them that is the Directorate of Public Prosecutions that has the duty to ensure that all perpetrators of child abuse are apprehended as per the Constitution. We also have the judiciary, where we find we have magistrates, we have a family court, we have the general courts that handle issues of perpetrating children's rights and responsibility, children's rights and all forms of violations. We also have within the government, because I said government is me and you, and any other body that comes together for the good of the people. We have our faith-based organizations that have a duty to ensure that they do spiritual nurturing, report any form of abuse so that our children are kept safe. We have our what we would call development partners. For us in child protection, we call them implementing partners because they complement the role that government is supposed to be doing. And the implementing partners have a duty to ensure that they provide a conducive environment for child survival, development, and growth. How they will be, sometimes we have seen implementing partners providing us with all the different social services that government would have been offering to the people. And sometimes because of the constraint that government has, it may not reach each and every child. And so the development partners come in to support us reach those children. Also, when we look at the same organizations or teams that are supporting us in child protection, we also do not forget the child themselves. The child has a duty, the family has a duty to ensure that they report any form of abuse and whatever is taking place around them. Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Immaculate. We still have many questions for you.
It's okay.
And you'll have to answer us.
It's fine.
What makes a country safe for children?
Is where a nation, a country, where we're having laws, regulations, policies that protect children. These are laws that are put up, are formulated by the different bodies. We have from LOC1 level, they have an opportunity of making bylaws. At district level, they have an opportunity to make ordinances. And at the national level, our parliament, part of the key responsibilities as why they are there is to formulate policies, laws that govern the well-being of a child. We also think that when we have responsible citizens that are patriotic in nature, we feel our country is safe for our children because the children will be able to live and realize their dreams. They will be able to enjoy their rights as children, and they will be able to grow well they will be having an enabling environment for them to realize these goals. Also, we say when there is respect for one another, we are looking at a scenario where an older person knows that this is a child and I have a duty to respect and protect this child's rights. If we have such kind of a community, such kind of a nation where an adult knows I do not have to abuse this child, but I am the number one person that is supposed to provide care and support for this child. If that is there, then we know that our children are safe. Then also we are saying when there is presence of God, there's God's presence in our lives. Spiritually, we all know that we have God. Above whatever we do, we know there's that might being that is above. If He is in our lives, we are sure that everybody will do their duty, will behave well, and will protect children.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
How do children benefit from the country?
Thank you. As children, benefit from the country in various ways. One, if they are able to access quality education. If our children are able to have a school within, because per our Ugandan context, we have the ideal is that every parish should have at least a primary school. Every sub-county should have at least a secondary school. And then at least those are the minimum. We also have tertiary institutions. So if we can have every parish have a primary school where our children can be able to attend, have education requirements being fulfilled. If we are having better schools, in those schools we have qualified teachers. We know that the kind of service that our children will be receiving is a quality service. We are also saying if the school has at least enough reading materials, they have a compound where the children can be able to play, exercise themselves. We shall be sure that our children are accessing better quality education from government. We are also saying that our children can also still benefit from our government, our country, through accessing quality health services. And when we are talking about quality health services, we are looking at a scenario. Our Ugandan context is that every sub-county should have at least a health center 3, where children should be able to access medicines at the right time, where children are able to get vaccines. We thank our government that time and again it has always responded in issues of vaccination for our children. Where we have qualified health workers that are providing a quality health service to our children. When we have also there is having qualified health workers, but also the availability of these health workers is critical for us to appreciate. And also the health facilities themselves. If all that is in place, our children can benefit from the country. We are also sharing that through good and exemplary leaders who are there to fight for the fulfillment of the rights of children and passing good laws that are aimed at the welfare and well-being of our children. Children can benefit from that. Then also we are saying through implementing and having good infrastructure development in the country. And when we are talking about infrastructure, we are looking at access to a good market, access to a market, a good road network to that market or to that school, to that health facility. At least electricity. We appreciate that of late, under the rural electrification program, most of our villages in the night are really beautiful. We always keep seeing lights in between the trees and what. So if we can have that kind of infrastructure development in our communities, then we know that our children are benefiting from the government.
Thank you very much, Madam Immaculate. You have made me to smile. Thank you so much. What has the government done to protect our children today?
Today, I want to take the Ugandan context. That today, government has put up various laws, regulations, policies, and that. Sometimes somebody made a comment that our Ugandan laws are the best. The only challenge is implementing them. But we have a variety of laws, regulations, and policies that are aimed at protecting our child. We also have various structures in place that have been put in place to ensure that, to look at the welfare of this child. We are having various offices that are charged with the duty to protect our children. We also have political positions. We have also that enabling environment as another that government has put in place. We have seen very many of the partners, implementing partners, that have come in the country to support our communities in the area of service provision. By creating that enabling environment by government, we have seen our children thriving through and realizing most of their rights. We also have social services. Government have put in so many of the social services so that children can holistically grow and realize their dreams, that the children can be able to enjoy their childhood. We always, in child protection, we keep talking about issues of let the children remain children. Let's not treat them as young adults, so that they're able to enjoy themselves, that they can be better people tomorrow that will also serve this nation. Government has also done a lot in issues of following up of perpetrators of abuse on children, unless if it is not reported. But the moment a matter is reported on child rights violation, the perpetrators are arrested, they are prosecuted in the courts of law, and these perpetrators serve a sentence. And even before they come back, we always prepare communities that this person has gone through this kind of sentence and is now ready to get back to the community. But at least there's a message that is sent to the other perpetrators out there, that it enables us to reduce what would be harm to our children. Then also, as a government, we have what we call the child policy. Our current child policy as Uganda has instituted what we call two bodies that are responsible for child protection in the districts. It institutes a body that we call the District Child Wellbeing Committee. That is the ultimate. That is charged with the duty of all welfare needs for children in their district. Then we also have another committee that the policy puts up, the child policy, yes, that talks about the District Alternative Care Committee. This one is charged with the duty of providing the alternative care for children in need of care and support. That this same policy gives us an opportunity to have establishment of foster care arrangements, adoption arrangements, child care institutions, that we can have children, instead of seeing this child going through this form of abuse, that the child is able to continue with receiving the other basic needs of life, and for them to grow holistically and enjoy themselves.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm happy, Madam Margaret.
Yes, for you.
You're responding to our questions. You know, we have been yearning a lot to have you here. One more last question. We have been yearning to work with government, but how best can we work together with the government in the area of child protection?
As the communities, as stakeholders, we have a lot that we can do together to improve the well-being of a child. How can we do this? As the individuals, as the partners, as a family, as the responsible people, we have a duty to work together with government. How can we do that? If there is any kind of appeal for the children, any kind of arrangement to have us discuss things that affect our children, we have a duty to participate. We need to attend meetings with the leaders, as leaders. Because in meetings, in such kind of forums, a lot of information is provided. We need to also do a lot of information gathering about issues that are affecting our children. Because in child protection, we believe that data gives us an opportunity to do decision making, to help us plan better. We can also participate in child protection awareness events like this one. I want to appreciate this because through a forum like this one, someone is able to get information one who is even on different media, of course, like currently. So many people are not, may not even attend some of the community awareness events. But through my phone, I am able to go and see, understand whatever is happening in the whole world. I am able to report issues that are affecting our children. We can also, as communities, work together by creating friendly environments for children to grow and be children. Mm-hmm. We shared earlier about how we can create a friendly environment. Children, one thing I know about children is that you cannot corrupt them, even when it is a toddler. Depending on how you look at this baby, even just sharing a smile with the baby will be able to either accept you or reject you. Mm. So this is for a baby who cannot even speak. What about for the little children? Each time we go out to our communities, each time we go out to the families, we are able to pick a lot of information by just simply observing. We have seen families where a mother comes back home, and when there are children that are running to receive a hug from a mother, there are those that are running to check themselves. Our children have given us names. In fact, we want to use the same opportunity to request families out there to be more friendly with our children. Find out which kind of names our children call us. Because the truth is, our children have nicknamed us depending on which kind of environment we have provided for them. Yes. If we are so good, they will run easily and hug us. They will run easily, pick your bag, and know that mommy may have carried something for me in this bag. But if we have created that environment that children fear us, then they will be able to run away when they see you. For us in our context, others will call you police. Mm. Even just by the mere mention of police, the other children will be put themselves right. But why would the child look at you as police? Because they are thinking you are only looking for faults in children. They are in people like us. And we sometimes as parents, we imagine that these children do not understand. But they really know what is taking place. They will be able to give us information if we create that environment with them. Mm. But if they know that mommy is very tough, daddy is very tough, that's when a lot of abuse will be taking place in the lives of our children without our knowledge. We also saying that as teams, as communities, we can extend a hand to improve the welfare of a child in need. What does it cost me? If I am moving and I find a child on the way, a child has been sent away from school, just over a book. How much is a book? It may cost 500 shillings. To the family where this child is coming from, it could be more of a luxury. The child may not be having even role models in the family. But to us that are look as leaders, as stakeholders, that are looking at this child and the future of this child tomorrow, let us just embrace this and we can contribute something small, even if it meant buying a physical book, even if it meant cancelling this child to remain in school, even if it meant providing this 200 shillings for a mandazi, for a child to eat and is comfortable and is able to go back to school. Let us extend a hand to improve on the well-being of children. Sometimes we have seen in our own homes that we keep collecting a lot of clothes, shoes, when our children outgrow their sizes. We keep collecting things in the house that we don't even use. With the time, such kind of clothes even and the shoes get spoiled. But there is a child out there that is in need of even just a small rag, what we would call like a rag, to put on her something, and they're able to smile. So it's just an encouragement that as families, we can improve the well-being of another child. We get blessings by giving. We can also do home visiting of children that are in need of care. You know, sometimes it even feels good to a household that is in need, even when it's a poverty-stricken household. But your visiting may be an encouragement in this child's life. Your visiting can bring hope to the family that is there. So sometimes when speaking to them, sharing with them, just that encouragement alone can create an enabling environment for the child. We are also saying that we also need to provide information to government for response and proper planning. Earlier on, we talked about issues of data, numbers. Numbers help us, they inform us in decision making. They help us to plan better. So we have a duty as stakeholders to ensure that we give government the right information. Currently, we have a law that we call the Registration of Persons Act. It is your duty as a household to report any birth of a child in a home. It is your duty as a family to report any death in the family. Why do we report that? And of course, failure to report to government that we have lost a citizen is an offense. That's why we have laws. These laws are to shape us, put us in the right track. Because if we do not inform government that we have a new birth in the home, or we have lost someone, government will use the old data to continue planning for the citizens. We have seen instances where people are sharing and saying, you know what, in our communities, our health facility received drugs last week, but I'm going this week, they told me there are no drugs. And then we keep saying, I think the health workers are selling drugs. But the ideal is they are using an old data that is not right. That as this health facility is planning for 500 persons, in reality there are over 1,000. Why won't the drugs get finished as early as possible? Then also, as stakeholders, we have a duty to do spiritual nurturing sessions with the children to know God. We believe that as a family that prays together stays together. We have a duty as a family that a family is the first place of learning. A family, as parents, we have a duty to show these children the light. That even before they go to formal school, we have given them a foundation that they are going to build on to improve on their academics. Yes. That's why as Christians, we have what we call either dedication in some religions, while others will have what we call baptism. Why? We are dedicating this child to the hands of God, that this child can be protected, that amidst the different challenges that the child will encounter as human beings, at least we know that I have a foundation. I have a God that will be able to protect me at all times. It gives them the strength. Yes. So as stakeholders, we have a duty to spiritually nurture our children, spiritually nurture another child, so that they can know the God that we serve and are able to do right things. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, much late. One more, I think maybe the last one is we normally see abuse happening in our communities. Where can we report?
Thank you so much. We have a lot of abuse that we must acknowledge.
Yes.
That even as we try to offer these kind of services to our communities, we still have so many of the perpetrators that are abusing our children on a day-to-day basis. We want to begin from a level of the child. Before, maybe we can first identify these areas where we can report, but also on our rings and responsibilities as stakeholders. We are going to begin with the child. The child has a duty to report whatever has happened to them as a child, because they are for those that are able to speak out on what has happened to them. That is if you've created that environment that the child can freely express or speak out what is happening with them. The child has an obligation to report an abuse that is occurring to them. If a child is able to report, the first line of reporting is the family. That a child will tell you, Daddy, while you were away, this neighbor did A, B, C, D. Daddy, while you were away, my elder brother did A, B, C, D to me. That would be our first point of reporting. If within whatever the child has reported, we are unable to, I don't know that in a family we have, of course, both what we'll say, maybe the father, the mother, the children, the sisters, brothers, things like that. Now, should we find that within the family, maybe we are unable to offer the kind of support that this child is reporting, or whatever kind of abuse that has happened to this child, we have a next level at what we call at community. And at community level, we have what we call the LOC. We have what we call, we have LOC, local leaders at a community level. We have spiritual leaders. Because By the way, I want to appreciate that spiritual leaders have played a great role of late in stabilizing families, in reducing abuse in our communities. That's we have seen sometimes people comment that you see it is the women that are flocking so much into the churches and what, but it's because of the burden that they are carrying on their hearts, that they feel they have a lot they have to offer, that they are burdened too much. So within the same communities, we have what we call community-based organizations that are providing, maybe are either responding or offering services that are aimed at reducing any form of abuse to the children. We have small structures that we call the child protection committees. It is comprised of a committee that handles the day-to-day challenges that our children are going through. That instead of us waiting to go to send this child to the next level of referral, they are able to handle the minor cases that need to be handled. We have another team that we call the parasocial workers. They have a basic knowledge as social workers, but it's a recognized system by Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. These people provide us also with psychosocial support. They provide that counseling. They home visit. They follow up on cases of abuse to our children. I also have another important aspect of the structures we call the village health teams, our VHTs. Those are just some of the few. I was bringing also on board the VHTs because they help us, apart from counseling also, they help us in reaching out to our people, our children, they vaccinate, they follow up, they do what, and also identify and refer for a health condition that this child may be going through in this family. After the community level, we also have, within the community, we also have our clans. There are matters that we handle. If we feel it is a discipline case, as a family, as the father, the mother, we have tried and this child is not really adjusting. We have a duty to say, now, you see, for us, as Africa, we still have a few of those clans that are really still strong. That is, for us, if we told you A, B, C, D, and you're going contrary, this is how we discipline a person according to our clan. And such things are recognized even up to court. Now, when we leave the community level, we move to the sub-county. At the sub-county level, you'll meet someone we call a community development officer. A community development officer, like I shared earlier on, has a duty to protect all vulnerable persons. It could be the elderly, could be the youth, could be the women, could be the children, persons living with HIV, and then the children. Has a core mandate to ensure they provide care and support, sensitize and create awareness to our communities about abuse, and also handle and provide legal support. We have still at the sub-county level what we call Child and Family Protection Directorate. It's now a directorate at police. This particular department is charged with the duty of providing care and support, handling forms of abuse, following up, arresting, and ensuring that they protect the persons that have been abused. We also have development partners, implementing partners at the sub-county level that are offering services within that entire sub-county and have a duty to ensure that sometimes they respond because, like we said earlier on, NGOs, the implementing partners, complement government role. There are times that we don't have to wait and say, now you see it is this and this. We have had partners at sub-county that have helped us meet costs of maybe legal support, costs of maybe testing, costs of treatment, costs of arresting, and have supported us to ensure that in child protection, time is a key factor. If we are responding to abuse, time is very, very critical for us because we say justice delayed is justice denied. So we also have at sub-county level what we call a child well-being committee. The one I talked on earlier, the other is at district level, but also at sub-county level we have the same committee that is charged with the duty on a quarterly basis to sit and discuss, receive reports from the various persons on what is happening, to share the picture of how the sub-county is performing in terms of child protection. We have a vice chairperson whose major role is a secretary for children. And then we have spiritual leaders. They help us in shaping. We can move to the district because we are talking about the areas of reporting and referral in that pathway. If things have failed, like we said, from the child to the family to the community, sub-county, now that means we move to the next level of support. If we have not received support from the earlier points, where at district level we have somebody we call a probation officer, whose core role is to ensure that you improve on the welfare and well-being of the children in the district. We have what we call a family and children's court, whose duty is to handle cases of abuse that has been reported to the courts of law, prosecute and ensure that the person that had the perpetrators have served the right sentence. We have what we call CFPDC, that is Child and Family Protection Directorate at district level, who also receives reports from the lower levels to ensure that our children receive a quality service. They are protected. If it is defilement, ensure that this matter is evidence is collected, perpetrators are arrested, produced in court, and then court takes over the next role. We have our implementing partners at district level. Time and again, I still appreciate the partners that we have. As a person, I have always had challenging situations that need the interventions of the partners. That even as I'm trying to push to ensure that justice is served to this child, but sometimes I'm not able to meet the medical bills, maybe the transportation, maybe this and that, and the partners have really come in to support us. I want to appreciate. Then we also have the two committees I talked about, the child alternative care and then the child well-being committees, whose duty is to ensure they regulate the intake of children in the alternative care and then out of the homes. These two committees help us so much. On top of that, the advocate is a district vice chairperson who is a secretary for children. If our issues have not been handled at this district level, and we feel it is a matter that needs maybe a higher authority, and because out of the different forms of abuse that our children go through, sometimes they may need the formulation of maybe a new policy, maybe a revision of a policy, maybe planning and budgeting, that sometimes we are unable to do as a district. Then it calls for a higher level that we call the national. And at the national level, we want to appreciate that in certain times we report to national level, but a few. But also sometimes the national level sends down the same issues of abuse. We want to appreciate that at the national level, we would begin with our own Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, whose core role is to regulate, allocate partners in different parts of the country. That our communities out there sometimes may wonder, why are we having Plan International in Tororo and not in Mbale? Why are we having World Vision in Mbale and not in maybe any other place? It is the role of Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development to ensure they allocate the development partners depending on the numbers, data. Because on every quarterly basis, we report on cases of abuse, report on cases of services provided to the children, and it informs ministry in allocation of which areas need support. So ministry has that duty, but also we have what we call the SAUTI, our child helpline.
Yes.
We want to appreciate that the child helpline is a toll-free number, 116, and want to encourage our communities out there to ensure we use the toll-free number. You do not have to explain where you're coming from. What we only need is you provide the accurate information for purposes of tracking back to offer a service in that area. You are able to dial this number 116 on your phone. It's free of charge. Explain or report any form of abuse on children in any part of the country. You will be able to speak a language that you are able to speak freely. You only explain in this particular community, this and this has happened to a child, and the perpetrator could be A, B, C, D, or even when you don't know the perpetrator. Yours is to report. When you call Sauti, you'll be calling Ministry of Gender, help desk. And Ministry of Gender will call back to the relevant district where this form of abuse has happened. And they will call either a probation officer or a health facility, depending if it is a health issue, maybe a police post, such that the tracking of the matter that has been reported is handled adequately. We also have what we call development partners at a national level that we say that are complementing on the role of government in providing services. We have the parliament. Our parliament has a core role in formulating laws and policies for our children that are aimed at protecting the future citizens of tomorrow. That the foundation that we are protecting now should be a good one for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I want to just take an example. Sometimes as citizens, I want to just take an example of the most previous now of PLOE. We have had people criticizing that our head teachers have not done the best. And then we are some schools going to provide a meal in the third term. But we are saying for us to have good results, the foundation must begin from a lower level. Which kind of environment are you creating for this P1 child? This P4 child? If the foundation now is bad, do we expect anything good at P7 level? So our parliament passes good laws that protect and build a good foundation for our communities to ensure that tomorrow we have good citizens. It's a country where there's a rule of law, a country where there is respect for one another. Then I want to imagine that at the international level, we still have partners, that also international organizations that provide regulations, laws that as a country we subscribe to ensure that our children have the best services. I just want to take an example of the reporting there. That if at a lower level, a matter is beyond, we always encourage our communities to keep referring the matter to the next level. We want to encourage that if there's an issue that is affecting them as human beings, as children, do not keep quiet. We want to encourage that we report. And reporting begins with us. Reporting begins with this child, so that the public out there can be able to see what is happening. I want to appreciate that of late social media, as another reporting form, has done a lot. We have seen of late from last year, we have had more intensified cases that have been followed up by police. By simply someone recording whatever is happening that you feel you're not happy about, and then posting to the media. Within 1, 2, 3 hours, police is concerned, and the perpetrators are looked for. So I am sure if we can continue to use social media in a proper way to report, our children will receive better services. There are so many. When you talk about child protection, it is just too broad.
Yes.
But I appreciate.
Thank you so much, Madam Immaculate. I have an itching question.
Yes.
On reporting.
Yes.
The people who abuse our children, our neighbors, our relatives, our leaders, is there in line of not disclosing a person who has reported a case? Like, can you carry an investigation without disclosing a person who has reported a case? Why? Because if you disclose, it is easier to receive threats from the abuser that can harm your life.
Yes, like we said, we have just been talking about the different reporting and referral pathway. But if you feel as a human being, if you feel as a neighbor, you want to report any form of abuse, but you are afraid that this neighbor may know that it's you who has reported, we have encouraged you to use the sauti, the child helpline. Like I said, if I called here that I am calling 116, I will be received. The toll-free would ask me, which language do you want to speak? And then I would select the language I am comfortable expressing myself. They may not even ask you your name. They will not even ask you, they won't ask you where you are calling from and the matter that you are reporting. Reason being, in child protection, we hold so much the issue of confidentiality. Because we want to protect this person, and actually we have what we call a Whistleblowers Act that protects this person that is providing information about any form of abuse. That we are sure, even as part of our work as social workers, all our people in social work have been trained on the element of confidentiality. That's why even when we are handling a matter that involves abuse, even when we meet on the street, you may not even you may have that guilt by yourself, but we will never ask you, because we say whatever we handle in this room remains in this room. While we are out there, I'm like any other person. You are free telling me whatever that is disturbing me as a person, maybe when I'm behind this table. But while we're out, there are even times when we move behind the table and you go and sit close to the person. Why you want to create that rapport? That someone can easily and freely share what is disturbing them as a person. But I want to encourage you that whoever provides information is very safe. We have an act that protects any whistleblower. Even if it is in the family, like I said, if you feel you want to provide the information but you are fearing, let us use the sauti. Even when Sauti calls me, the child helpline, they will call me and say, Immaculate, there is this matter in Namakwekwe. There is a child in the age of these years belonging to a household around here and is experiencing this form of abuse. Kindly follow up the matter. They will not even give me your names. They won't even give me even your telephone number sometimes. Because in one way or the other, we are trained in what we call investigative. I don't know, like the journalists will call it investigative journalism. But we are trained in the form of collecting information. And when we collect information, even when I do an inquiry, what we call a social inquiry, I will not be able to, unless if it is needed, especially in court, that maybe I may provide such kind of information, only when we feel that this child is, if I don't provide this information, it is likely to distort the continuity of this matter. But that is with the magistrate. Even when we provide our reports as CDOs, as probation to the court, on an abuse of a child, this report that we make remains in the files of the State Directorate of Public Prosecutions and the magistrate. And me, myself, because it is in my head. But the other person may not know what has happened. But I have done my part for the welfare of this child. So I want to encourage our communities out there that when you have any form of abuse that you want to report, please use the sauti. Use the child helpline. Just dial 116 on your phone. You'll be safe. Nobody will know that you have reported any kind of matter like that, but it will help us in timely respond to any form of abuse to our children.
Thank you so much, Madam Immaculate.
It's a pleasure.
We now see that all of us, we are responsible for child protection. Let it be parents, community, church, government, and everyone. We are all required to take the full responsibility of protecting our children.
Yes.
Let me ask my sister, Kate, to have something.
Thank you very much, Sister Immaculate from the government. We really appreciate the good message you've given unto us. And I also still encourage our viewers and listeners that please use Sauti 116 call in case of any abuse in our areas there. So we have come to the end of our session 4 with the government worker matchlet. Thank you very much for loving us and being with us and giving us such good information to our viewers and listeners. May the Lord bless you very much.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Mweraba. Bye-bye.